Hey, today we're going to be tackling a car you don't see a lot on these channels. Not sure why, but I love the car personally, so we're going to tackle it today. Don't go away. Hey everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And today we're going to be tackling the Hot Wheel Redline, the Shelby Turbine. Now, I don't know why you don't see more of these on all these channels, but these second year Redlines, these race cars, were personal favorites of mine. I really enjoyed them, played with them a lot, so I'm kind of looking forward to doing this Shelby Turbine for you guys today. In addition to restoring the car, I'm also going to introduce you to something new called Renaissance Wax. You might have seen it if you've watched any of my coin ring videos, but you've never seen it here with Diecast restorations. So let's go ahead and jump right into the project. A personal favorite, the Shelby Turbine was released in Hot Wheels' second year. I vividly remember playing with this car and always enjoying it. I loved the look of it, and I also loved the fact that it was based off of a real race car. As you can see, this one's been played with pretty rough, and the body's got a lot of pitting in it. It is going to be a challenge to get this thing to look right. But that's never held me back before, so it's not going to hold me back now. So we'll go ahead and get it apart and see what we really have to work with. You've seen it 1,000 times here on the channel. I start with my shielded drilling technique to go ahead and drill out the rivets. And look how nicely that drill bit is just holding onto the head of the rivet. And then look at that. Picture perfect. Couldn't ask for better. I have to tell you that I probably wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for the shielded drilling, because I really got tired of ruining cars by my inability to drill the posts out properly. So this really was a heaven send for me. Alright, with the mushroom head drilled off the posts, I can use a little flat-headed bladed screwdriver to go ahead and pop the car apart. And we see this really super thin, fine body.
Ugh. A nest, a pod. Everybody knows how I feel about pods. What the hell was that? Look at this. That is so repulsive. Ugh, so bad.
Ugh. Anyhow, so we'll pull that out of there with some tweezers. It's got the bent springs, capped wheels, the whole 9 yards. Really thin little car. Should be interesting to do. Oh well, let's forge ahead and get this thing into the warm liquid goo. Alright? And boy, I'm going to run out of this stuff soon. That makes me sad. Anyhow, bloop, in it goes. Put that aside for a little while and let the goo do its work. I'm never really in any big hurry when I do these projects, so this thing's been sitting in the stripper for probably a couple hours. So I'm pretty confident that the paint will be off of it, so we'll go ahead and pluck it on out. Shake off the extra goo. Now, this good goo is pretty much off the market, and soon I'll be switching over 100% to citrus strip. But if you have some of this stuff, it always works great. Love it. All right, there you can see it. It's still got its little paint shell on there, so I'll just take a little toothbrush and kind of slurm it off, get as much of it off as possible. And then we'll run it over to the sink and give it a good wash and scrub to get rid of any remaining paint and any remaining goo. And then we'll really get a look and see just how bad this body is. I'm expecting the worst, hoping for the best. Okay, so I'm back from the sink and we've washed it off, and surprise, surprise, my stripper left an awful lot of paint behind, so I'm going to have to use the old wire brush trick. And I'm taking a look at the body, and I'm not overly happy with this thing. It's got a lot of pits in it. So we're going to hit it up with my brass brush as I always do. Eventually I'm going to turn to a wire wheel on my rotary tool. But we'll get all the rest of this paint off and get a real good look at the body, and then we can figure out what we have to do next. All right, we'll just give it a little final brushing here with the brass brush, and then we can take a look and see just how bad it is. And right here you can see it's actually pretty bad. So we're going to have to do a lot of sanding, and then we're going to have to go ahead and electro polish it and put it through the plater, because this body is pretty ratty, and it's going to need a lot of work. Okay, after the files and sanding sticks and whatnot, I've taken it down here for electro polishing, and then I'm going to move it over to the zinc bath and put a nice couple of heavy coats of zinc on there and try and smooth this body out the best I can. Alright, so with the body cleaned and zinc plated and polished up real nice, we can head over to the paint booth, and I'm going to go ahead and just put a nice green paint back on this car, keep it the way it looked. And unfortunately this paint has been on my shelf for a long time, and you can see that the cardboard disc is stuck down, and when I get the paint out, it's really, really gummy. But that doesn't mean it's garbage. The nice thing about this paint is you can make it usable and breathe new life into it. See how thick it is? I'm just going to thin it back down with some lacquer thinner, and that will get this usable again and ready to spray. So I'll pour the paint into a little mixing cup, hit it up with some lacquer thinner, and stir it up nice and fine until I get a consistency I'm happy with and am ready to spray. Honestly, this body still had a lot of little pits and dings in it. I didn't feel like I could do too much more with it. I probably should have gone with like an opaque paint, maybe like British Racing Green, or perhaps primed it and sanded it, and then use the old chrome paint base trick and then put the paint on over the top of it or something like that. But I didn't. I decided I was going to go straight to Spectraflame, and I'm actually not going to end up regretting it. It's going to come out pretty great. For me, that's one of the biggest tricks of this whole hobby is accepting what the model gives you and not stressing out about certain things. I could have gone a lot of different ways with this paint job, but I really didn't need to, and I just took the car the way it was, pressed forward, and it came out fantastic. And sometimes, what's the saying, is better to be lucky than good, and so sometimes it's great to be lucky. This car is going to come out awesome, even though there were other paths I could have followed. You just have to understand that sometimes you just got to go for it. Although my air booth is really clean, I've got new paper down and new filters in it and whatnot, I still go ahead and mist it down with just a little bit of water to help keep floating things from landing in my paint job. And then you've heard me say it here 1,000 times. I begin with a very light mist coat, kind of a tack coat, if you will. And then I build up from there into some medium coats, and then finish it off with a beautiful smooth, wet gloss finish. And if you really pull this off right, there's no need to color sand this or anything after the fact. In fact, I think it's going to take away a little bit from it. So it really pays to hone your craft as far as that final coat of paint goes. I will tell you, in all honesty though, as I was laying this paint down, I was worried because there were still a lot of pits along the back and the side, and I was worried they were going to stand out like a sore thumb. It was only after the paint was done being put on that I could see that everything smoothed out, looked fantastic, and like I said again, it's sometimes better to be lucky than good, and in that case, I'd say I was pretty lucky because it just came out fantastic. Okay, so after the paint was on, I put it on my little drying lamp and let it cure, and now I can go ahead and turn to decals. And there's going to be a lot more coming up on decals. Let's just suffice it to say that I made these myself, and they came out fantastic, and the car is going to look great with them on it. So I'm super excited about that, and you know, something for you guys to look forward to is a whole bunch more on making decals. Anyhow, so you've seen me do this before. I put the decals into the water and then slide them onto the wet body, and my favorite tool for positioning them is a little bit of a toothpick, and then later on I can go ahead and put them with some solvent to soften them and make them conform to any shapes underneath them. But yeah, it's coming out great. Of course, after I decaled and put the clear coat on, that's when I realized that I forgot to drill out the posts. I hate when I do that. So here I am, back drilling out the posts and praying at this point I don't screw up the car. Now, this car, the front post, is so short, I can't even begin to tell you. I already planned to use a short, small screw for the front. But I'm also planning that I'm going to need at least one washer, because I have got to be really, really careful here that I don't drill right through the car. There's not a lot of material there. Since I plan on not reusing the wheels that are on there, I like to always leave them on as long as possible to protect the hub, or in this case, the back of the cap. So right now I'm just popping the caps off, and I've got 4 new ones sitting there waiting to go on. And once I get all the caps off, I can go ahead and pop on the new wheels, and that will give a whole new brightness to this base, which was polished using not only a wire wheel attached to my rotary tool, but also a little my Flitz polish. So I've got all 4 of the caps off, and now I can just snap on the new wheels. And I learned a lesson on another project, and I'm going to share it with you here. Don't throw out your old cap wheels. There's going to come times where you need something to protect the back of the wheel, and it's nice to have a little grouping of these old caps that you can snap on there and not worry if they get destroyed or whatnot. So save the old ones, you know, and put them off to the side, and someday it's going to pay off for you. Anyhow, so I'm just going around the car snapping all 4 of the new caps on. The caps were bought from Brightvision. You can find them online. They have great stuff, and the car looks amazing now and rolls really good. So now we're going to do a whole brand new trick. Since this is just a polished base and it's not going to have anything else put on it, I'm going to protect it using a product I use for my coin rings called Renaissance Wax. This is a crystalline wax that they use in museums and whatnot to help preserve things like jewelry and coins and what have you. So I'm just rubbing it on with my finger, and then I'll buff it off with a soft cloth, and that should protect the beautiful polished finish I put on the base. All right, now I'm moving over to gauzy. And even though this window is really, really small, and it's probably not going to make any difference, force a habit, you know. So I'm going to take the window and I'm going to dip it into the gauzy. And then I'll wick off the excess. And here I've got a little bubble because that window is so tight. So I'm just poking it with the little toothpick to make the bubble pop. And then, like I said, I'll wick away the extra and then put it aside to dry in my ever-present and beloved onion jar. Okay, so while the windshield dries, I can take and clean the interior. And once I'm done with that and the windshield is dry, we can go ahead and put this sucker together. We start by just dropping in the windshield, which I found it's an aftermarket piece because the other one was in pretty rough shape. It fits kind of weird. I don't know if it can fit any better than it does, but it just fit kind of weird. But it is what it is. And then I'll drop the interior in, put the base on, and screw this sucker together. So while I go ahead and button this up, now is as good a time as any to talk about the live stream. Of course, I'm going to have my regularly scheduled live stream on the first Sunday of April. That begins at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But there will also hopefully be a special live stream on either the 19th or the 20th, as I expect Lee from Wee Little Cars, aka Time Rider, to be here in Vegas. And if he gets here and it all works out, we're going to try and host a live stream together. So it'll be a good chance to talk to two of the mice live and ask any questions you want, and just have a little chat. So keep an eye out on my channel and Lee's for any special announcements concerning the exact date and time of that live stream. Okay, so I'm going to use my short screws here, and like I said, there's no way I could get deep enough on that front post, so I'm right off the bat, I'm using one of my tiny little washers on the screw in the front, and that's actually going to work out just perfect and give me just enough tension to pull this car back together. And for the back, again, I'm using a short screw, but I won't need a washer back there. And so I'll just screw this thing together and we can take a look at the final product and see what we came up with. All right, there you have it, my finished product, and here is what I came out with. I think it came out really, really beautiful, and it's going to be a fantastic addition to my collection. Super, super happy with the way it came out, especially with the way the decals came out. Well, there you have it, the Shelby Turbine, all redone and shining like a penny, if I do say so myself. I think it came out really, really good, and it was a lot of fun to do. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, click the little bell to be notified anytime I release a new video. If you have any questions or comments, ask them down below. I really do love talking with you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you had a good day. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.